What is our place in the universe? Are we but atoms in an endless sky? Does our speaker in today's poem have the sudden recognition that their death will not affect greater humanity? Is this a nihilistic awakening? Welcome to Strip Coverlet, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Fort, and we're here for another poetry discussion, which will appear, of course, in the poetry discussion playlist here on the channel, cruising towards 800 videos, but also the Emily Dickinson playlist, a playlist dedicated to the greatest poet of all time, now approaching 250 videos strong. The poem in question today is "It Troubled Me as Once I Was," and it reads as such. It troubled me as once I was, let me start over. It troubled me as once I was once a child, concluding how an atom fell, and yet the heavens held. The heavens weighed the most by far, yet blue and solid stood, without a bolt could I prove. Would giants understand? Life had set me larger problems, some I shall keep to solve, till algebra is easier or simpler proved above. Then, too, be comprehended what sorer puzzled me, why heaven did not break away and tumble blue on me. So I think that there is a double entendre to be had in this opening stanza here. It troubled me as once I was, for I was once a child, concluding how an atom fell. Atom, A-D-A-T-O-M, or A-D-A-M. Atom fell as well from the garden, fell and became mortal, really, and yet the heavens held. Despite Adam's fall, despite humanity's fall, the heavens stayed. I think that there is a religious correlation here because Emily Dickinson often had religious correlations in her poetry, sometimes outright calling to God himself, alluding to Jesus as well. The trouble between Emily Dickinson and religion, I think, was a lifelong journey for her. How could all of creation be made in order that God create something in his image, that being humankind? And when humankind fell, everything still ran. Everything still ran just fine. But I think that there is maybe the same question here. How could the skies hold together without each component part? That is, I think, an awakening to the idea that uh, the greater importance, the greater synergy of existence is different and outside of the meddlings of a single individual. And the poet goes on to recognize this. Life set me larger problems, some I shall keep to solve, till algebra is easier or simpler proved above. This is a callback to that opening question, saying that, look, some things we just don't understand right now. Some things we cannot put together with the tools that we have. So we have to keep working on the tools that we do have till algebra is easier, until these numbers, until this figuring, these calculations can be easier done by myself. I will keep working to be good enough to solve them. Emily Dickinson's poetry, in my opinion, is great for this kind of question, this kind of recognition of the self, and recognition, frankly, of the self on a greater journey. Through a lot of her poems, she recognizes this lesser account of the self, but that the lesser account of the self does not have to hold. I Died for Beauty but was scarce adjusted in the tomb is another poem that recognizes the struggles and the journeys and the fight, the war inside the self to stand for something. And even if we fall in the name of that something, that itself is not a loss. It is maybe a temporary setback for the thing. Because, for example, in that previous poem, I Died for Beauty, Someone dies for beauty, someone dies for truth. But those wars keep going. The war for truth, the war for beauty, keep going on. Just like how the heavens hold in this poem, despite a single atom falling. The final stanza, then, to be comprehended, what sorer puzzled me, why heaven did not break away and tumble blue on me. This question does not leave the speaker. The question itself stays with the speaker despite the loss, despite the failure, despite the fall. And I think that this is because of those greater wars, those greater struggles, the struggle for truth, the struggle for beauty, the struggle to hold the heavens up, do not fall on the shoulders of one individual. One individual can make great attempts, great breakthroughs, and yet, even in their absence, that war will continue. That struggle will go on. It will be for other people, but those other people will be standing on the shoulders of giants. This is, I think, better recognized in the scientific community than in the literary community, than in the philosophical community. In the scientific community, it seems that once these once these battles are won, Isaac Newton, pardon me, Isaac Newton made great breakthroughs, but his shoulders were stood on by the likes of, for example, Albert Einstein. It seems in philosophy and in literature, sometimes we think that once that breakthrough happens, the battle is won, and there is no further to go. Artistic movements change, sentiments change, but it seems that we are sometimes too complacent to take the tools of a previous epoch and use them or discard them. So the sort of prevalent movement today is a disrecognition of previous wins in philosophy or art, a tearing down of the philosophical or artistic or ideas of beauty, discarding them and saying none of them count, instead of taking them and building on them as they do in science and mathematics. I think that nihilism, which you could very easily provide a nihilistic interpretation for this poem, is one such endeavor, because I think that nihilism as a philosophy is to be incorporated into a package of tools that with which we can deal with things, instead of saying that nothing matters. Basically, what nihilism is the scientific method in philosophy. Because what it basically says, so Pisarev, and I quote this all the time on the channel, Pisarev said something to the effect of, I will take everything and discard it. I will blow up, smash to smithereens, everything that does not stand. What is often lost in that is the fact that what the early nihilists were doing was saying, I will discard everything that does not work. Not that I will discard everything, but that I will not assume anything and take from those arguments the things which do work and move forward with them. Nihilism, I think, is misinterpreted often today as a discarding of everything wholesale, as opposed to being a tool with which we can say, okay, I will start at first principles. I will discard everything and start rebuilding with those things that did work. Take those things and move on with them, and no other assumptions. That, it seems to me, is what is being proclaimed in this poem. Our speaker said, okay, well, this atom fell from the sky and the skies did not fall. That troubles me, but I will move on with the recognition that the skies did not fall and work to answer why. That is all I have for this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. There's poetry every Monday, and I hope to have you back for the next one.